sponsored by the Degama Group.
Hi Cesar, welcome to Rumbo Minero. How's it going?
What a pleasure, Jorge.
My name is Jorge Leon Benavides and I will collaborate with Cesar Campos in the development process. Firstly, after participating in the PDAC conference in Canada, it is crucial to highlight the significance of the Minister of Energy and Mines' remarks on this mining direction program. About the single window system, he discussed the backing from the World Bank. Why is this important? The reason is that they are being developed to help me comprehend unique virtual windows where all the necessary documentation is reinstated. But in truth, you simply upload it and they revert it to how it was before, sending it back to the different ministries for exploration. No progress has been made and the World Bank could help. Well, they were also mentioning the increase from 51 projects to 68, which would be in a bigger investment of over $62 billion. And the purchase of gold. There has been extensive discussion regarding the BCR's alleged lack of competencies, which it actually possesses. However, it subsequently issued another declaration stating that I could purchase the legal ones, the smaller ones available for sale. Well, in collaboration with the BCR, let's examine what is real and what actions can be taken.
Indeed, Jorge has been very active, the Minister of Energy and Mines, Jorge Montero, in recent days over the last few weeks. And the PDAC has been a useful platform for these important announcements. I believe it is crucial that we have a conversation concerning these issues, commencing with the participation of Engineer Roque Benavides Ganosa in his capacity as the President of the mining company. May good fortune smile upon us, for we have yet another guest in our midst.
Miguel Incháustegui, the ex-Minister of Energy and Mines, was indeed Miguel Incháustegui. To talk about these topics that I just mentioned, right, there are several topics. We're talking about the BCR, if it can buy gold. What method could truly make that happen? Wouldn't you agree? And if in the process, since that's the most fascinating part, if in the process you can buy from the small legal businesses as well, but you can formalize it, right? But well, let's engage in an extensive conversation. My thoughts are on this chat, this dialogue, this exchange of ideas. Television programs such as Rumbo Minero serve exactly to introduce into society and engage in discussions about different issues, thereby assisting the country in making more informed decisions.
Indeed.
Let's now explore the latest mining news of the week presented by Gabriela Chicoma, our trusted source. 123 characters.
Hello, Jorge. These are the headlines about mining for this week. The text has 90 characters. Peru intends to send a delegation to hold meetings with U.S. officials after the Trump administration revealed its plans to implement tariffs on copper, which has raised concerns. Peru, the third biggest copper provider globally, exports some of its metal to the United States, but the bulk is sent in semi-processed form to Chinese smelters. The main copper producer in the United States, Freeport-McMoRan Inc., he personally possesses Cerro Verde, one of the largest mines in Peru. The mining investment project portfolio from the Ministry of Energy and Mines reports positive growth this year. According to the forecast, the anticipated investment figures for this year have escalated, going up from 51 projects to a total of 68 projects, which represents an investment of $63 billion, as announced by Minister Jorge Montero Cornejo.
Well, we are meeting with Engineer Roque Benavides. We are going to talk about the topics now. Hey, we mentioned that in the introduction. Roque, welcome to Rumbo Minero.
Thank you very much again for this invitation to Rumbo Minero.
Thanks for coming. After the PDAC, we were hoping for a discussion as the minister has made multiple comments on various issues. There have been a lot of statements regarding these matters. And with your expertise, we aim to make these topics more tangible, don't you think? With the single window. He spoke the minister mentioned that the single window is going to request help from the World Bank because we know that the single window, we're discussing no production, but it's about exploration, isn't it? The single window, we know. They have gone ahead and digitized it, doing numerous things, but we are still experiencing considerable delays. This is the truth of the matter. So, might the World Bank be able to assist with the single window initiative?
I think the World Bank definitely has a department focused on simplification, aimed at minimizing bureaucracy. The single window concept implies that the user, which refers to us as mining companies and exploration firms, can go to a single place, and that place can in turn coordinate with the various ministries. Today, what we have is a difficult situation where we must ask for permissions from different ministries and institutions. So the one-stop window that Minister Romulo Mucho referred to at the beginning is in urgent need of action, and if it's the World Bank, the specialist, then that's excellent. And
Now, Roque, can you enlighten us a bit about what's happening in other countries, right? Because by looking at the statistics a little, we are quite slow when it comes to granting permits for exploration and the actual exploration itself. Often in most situations, what you want may not happen, but they place so many restrictions as if you were actually going to produce something.
in Canada, I am told that obtaining an exploration permit takes about 3 weeks. And in Peru, based on my experience, we are talking about over a year. There exists a subject that we might want to suddenly request the Canadians to clarify for us regarding how they manage the exploration permit. Many don't get it. When discussing mining exploration, we are actually discussing the process of conducting research in the field, in the sector. In the industry, it is called research and development. Who would oppose research? In mining, it is referred to as exploration and development. What individuals can oppose the act of exploration? What potential environmental consequences can arise from exploration? It makes no sense to have obstacles in this regard. I understand that in real operations, it may take slightly more time to obtain permits, but I can comprehend the reasons for this delay. Nonetheless, Peru is entitled and obligated to investigate its territory and discover what is hidden in the Earth's depths. Investigate. Can anyone oppose this? This is the investigation of the Earth's depths.
I wanted to provide some context, Roque, regarding the minister's announcements, which, as Jorge has pointed out, we have already talked about while presenting the program. And this clearly includes this goal. In order to increase the number of mining investment projects from 51 to 53 and to ultimately reach 68, the total investment amount is expected to be around $62 to $63 billion. But the context also includes the announcement from the Minister of Economy and Finance, Jose Salardi, aiming for a 4% growth, executing a deregulation shock that I think should also affect, from our standpoint, the mining sector. How can this sense of optimism be reconciled with the current scenario in a year leading up to an election? With circumstances in which the populism of Congress will also be unleashed precisely because of those electoral aspirations.
I truly admire Minister Salardi, who I got to know at Proinversión as an extremely proactive individual. His proactive nature truly stood out. He is probably not the typical Minister of Economy like those we have had in recent years. He's a man who really focuses on investments. Well, I think, and I'm not an economist, that investment is the key factor for the growth of the economy. And this man has been working and has raised a lot of pro-inversion during his time at that institution. I think he understands how to remove obstacles. I comprehend that there have been, for instance, modifications in the Ministry of Economy that are directed towards the bureaucratic processes or red tape, as I call him now. It is gradually decreasing. This is unacceptable. The reality is that the real economy comes with the investment that brings economic growth. Order, while vital in the economy, is not the sole aspect of the real economy, as it encompasses more than just that. But we need to invest much more. Every investment generates a very valuable virtuous circle. Chance is getting a lot of attention for a big investment in infrastructure, $1.3 billion. Cuelaveco's value stood at 5,500, while Las Bambas reached an impressive 10,000. Is it not the case that in the Moquegua area today, the most competitive department in Peru, surpassing Lima, is it possible that in Apurimac, the Las Bambas mining operation has not contributed positively to the wealth creation in that locality? Certainly, every investment, regardless of whether it's in infrastructure or mining, holds great significance. It is imperative that we comprehend the necessity of significantly increasing our investments.
Roque, since your father's time, Mr. Alberto, Yay, the vast experience and insight he possessed, and then you, With the lead and the excellent work that has been carried out throughout these years has allowed you to acquire a vast experience regarding Peruvian mining practices. Well, we proceed with a sum of approximately 50 billion, while also progressing with around 40 billion. However, there is a lack of substantial growth in mining endeavors. What have you observed during your many years as a prominent figure in the mining industry? What frustrates you? Yeah, the reason we haven't experienced a significant explosion that could change the country, which is what everyone desires, and to assist, of course. For example, to reduce extreme poverty and this kind. What are the most complicated issues that you still see after all these years of experience? And what frustrates you?
I remember well when Yanacocha started, during the decade of the 90s, the Americans from Newmont arrived and discussed the permitting process, about the permissions. And the truth is that in Peru, we didn't talk about those terms in those terms. I looked at them and said, what is this permitting thing? Eventually, we have come to a point where we have, in this permit mania or permitology, as you may call it, and the truth is that the world has tended to complicate things. I believe that the countries that have managed to streamline this permit issue, the interaction that occurs between the private sector and the public sector, is the most successful one. This is why Singapore is so successful. It takes just 15 minutes to start a business there, only 15 minutes. I ask you, can you believe it? 15 minutes. We are required to complete the fourth portion of the path to get to the public institution we need to access here in Peru. And what we need to do is promote much more efficiency, competitiveness in the Peruvian economy. That's very frustrating that projects take so long.
Nonetheless, Roque, it has been announced that Tia Maria will be moving forward by October or September. You previously mentioned that the commencement of operations for San Gabriel, a highly important project for Buenaventura, could potentially take place in the month of July. Do you really believe that the social conditions, I reiterate, in a pre-election year, where, as we've discussed here several times with Jorge, does the agitation around the anti-mining issue unfortunately manage to capture a social group that opposes this kind of projects? How do you view the feasibility of San Gabriel, which you have claimed is similar to Tia Maria, Peru?
Peru has its own problems, but sometimes we think that everything from outside is better than what we have here. In English, they say the neighbor's garden seems greener. I was in Panama. In Panama, they halted the Cobre Panama project 2 years ago. It is in care and maintenance.
It is from First Quantum.
But a project that represents 5% of Panama's gross domestic product. In the Panama Canal, Panama's GDP is accounted for by 3.8%, roughly comprising 55 out of every 100 characters. Cobre Panama accounts for 80% of Panama's total exports, which amounts to a significant portion at 80%. And it was suspended 2 years ago, and the result of an arbitration is coming. That the government of Panama will surely lose a staggering $30 billion. Panama's GDP is 80,000. Take a look at that situation, folks. Peru is not currently in that situation. Nevertheless, this does not imply that we cannot become significantly more efficient than we are now. In certain instances, we cannot disregard interest groups such as Hollywood artists or the Catholic Church, which hold considerable sway. In some cases, for example, in the case of Panama, they lack the economic criteria that could result in a country facing such a situation. Peru is in need of assistance to embark on the path of growth, and that will only happen, I insist, through investment.
Now, in your experience as a businessman, what could be considered a bit, for the viewers who are listening to you, what could be considered a bit profile? Let's not get into people. We're talking about the company's profile. Rephrase, the forthcoming leader of Peru, be it the president or presidentes. Who can bring progress for our nation, tragic results. To our nation, making the necessary decisions that must be made. Sadly, we can observe where the recent presidents have concluded their terms. What profile would that be?
An intelligent person with sound judgment containing a total of 22 characters. an individual who has faith in investment, a person aware that maintaining order is essential, and the economy will function. It is important to understand that in Peru, 20% of investment is public investment. This depends on the state. 80% is private investment. Our aim is to enable the vibrant private sector to function, encompassing micro and small businesses while retaining the original intent and significance. Peru's entrepreneurs. The text includes moderate and sizable businesses situated in Peru. That's what we require, that there is a person who is aware that in Peru we need to provide the conditions for that dynamic private sector in order to achieve progress and grow. That's all we need, nothing more?
The exogenous impacts we can receive from policies, especially tariff-related ones that President Donald Trump has announced and is not only announcing, Roque, but is already implementing. There are certain actors disrupting the global finance and economic system, such as the imminent imposition of tariffs. These actions have the potential to cause significant disarray for copper importation, but mainly looking at Chile and also in Canada with its neighbor, which is already in a dispute. What do you think of Trump's policies? How much could they impact us, especially the mining sector?
I believe it would be wise to assess the validity of Mr. Trump's statements with a metaphorical thermometer. The shares of Freeport-McMoRan, which is in Cerro Verde, rose on the day it announced it would impose tariffs on copper. Freeport-McMoRan manages the Cerro Verde project, which produces around 500,000 tons of copper annually. What happened there? Currently, the situation is that the public thinks that the output of copper in the United States is set to grow significantly. All right, but that isn't going to occur at any moment now. Who is Trump in talks with when he brings up copper? I think he's negotiating with Canada and Mexico. He's a great negotiator. In my opinion, he is the one who makes the first move and subsequently waits for the response. Indeed, the same situation is occurring regarding tariffs and China as well. He is an odd man, but if you think about it, there is a bit of sense in some of the things he has mentioned. The act of financing NGOs without the necessary control has inflicted considerable damage both in Peru and globally. To bring about the awakening of Western Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that you too must put in more effort. I don't find it unreasonable when viewed from an American standpoint. It seems to me that it is not right to assert that the Prime Minister of Canada is merely a governor of one of the provinces, or one of the... This text contains 11 characters. Talking about Greenland seems wrong to me. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong to criticize, of course, the Panama Canal and the Chinese companies. It is essential to recognize that the Chinese enterprises positioned at the Panama Canal's entrance and exit are long-established Hong Kong companies. And now they're going to be bought by BlackRock. Well, that's great news. Please be aware that Chanche Port might also be affected by this new situation. He will mention that this is the Chinese investment of 60% in the Chanche Port. Therefore, anything that goes through Chanche Port can no longer arrive in the United States. I'm not sure if any of that could arrive. However, how do we define an individual perpetually engaged in bargaining and exerting pressure on their peers?
Carrot and stick for you.
A little bit of that, a little bit of this. Well, thank you very much, Roque, for being here with us.
We hope you can come another time, and well, I just want to thank you. I always publicly acknowledge the support and fulfilling, especially this year, in the mining sector. 15 years on the air. This has been... Now is a crucial moment to support the mining industry.
Thank you very much, Jorge. The truth is that you do an excellent job, and I appreciate your kind words towards me. I believe that Mr. Alberto and Mr. Roque Benavides were very valuable people in our country. We need more of those Peruvians.
Thank you. Well, let's take a commercial break and we'll be back. Hello, we are meeting with Miguel Incháustegui, who used to be the Minister of Energy and Mines as we know him. Miguel, welcome to Rumbo
Thanks for the
Minero.
invite, Jorge. I appreciate it.
Miguel, tell us a bit about your experience at the PDAC. We have been able to see and hear the minister speaking on a range of issues, including the matter of buying gold. Peruvian. I'm unsure about its legality, whether it was lawful or against the law, by the BCR. Afterward, he held a press conference to announce that the BCR would be making purchases from small-scale producers, ensuring support for the local economy. What would be the benefit of that? Because we know that gold can be bought, the Central Reserve Bank, if it wants reserves, can purchase it in Switzerland or anywhere else, right? But how would that help exactly? That topic and whether it would somehow encourage other miners, let's say illegal ones, who want to legalize, can they manage this to get a buyer of that level?
In my opinion, the proposal is definitely not the best option in terms of what you say wouldn't be very useful. I believe the BCR has certain roles, specific, and as you say, gold can be obtained from anywhere else in the world. And what matters most is to ensure that a body is established. I purchased the gold in order to achieve traceability, don't you think? In my view, what really matters here is achieve the accreditation of traceability from where the gold is extracted, and this. And in order to achieve that, for instance, in Chile, there exists an organization that purchases gold, break time, 0.4s, not the Central Bank of Chile. And its objective is to find, under certain conditions that necessitate the individual who...
They have to investigate, and the BCR is not going to start looking into where the traceability comes from and everything.
I personally believe this is a proposed topic or initiative, but I think it requires more in-depth examination and extensive research. It is important for us to avoid unnecessary duplication of efforts, wouldn't you agree? We can look at experiences from other countries. However, my primary objective is to achieve traceability, all right? Break time. And for that purpose, this, for instance, an idea that was observed a while back was to bolster mining assets so that it can perform those functions, you know? Break time. Yet, I think that, you know, in my perspective,
Mining assets could take charge, be the entity responsible, like what you mentioned about Chile.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Mining assets could be the entity responsible for purchasing gold and supervising if it doesn't come from an illegal process, let's say.
So that was indeed attempted in the years 2017 and 2018, but ultimately the mining assets did not possess the capability to achieve it. I believe that what we need to seek is support, for example, from the World Bank, from the IDB, to strengthen mining assets, not just an essential subject that concerns the remediation of environmental liabilities, the reutilization of liabilities, and also include this type of functions, right?
We have Miguel from the PDAC of Canada, in which the present head of Energy and Mines, Jorge Montero, has already been very proactive in making several announcements in the context. The Economy Minister, Jose Salardi, expressed Peru's aspiration to achieve a growth rate of approximately 4% while maintaining a fiscal deficit of around 2.2. And there would be a shock of deregulation that would also, of course, impact the mining sector. Thus, certainly the Minister, Montero, has pointed out that it is crucial to emphasize that there will be an increase in the number of mining projects from 51 to 68, with an estimated investment of $63 billion in total. What do you think about the practicality of all this? You know, always in light of the Minister of Economy's aspirations.
I believe that it's a positive announcement. What I suggest is that there should be a huge effort, not just from the Ministry of Economy, but from the entire government. Because what we need to achieve is for the projects to materialize, right? To be built and start operating. That is the challenge that the ministry has always faced. I believe that the minister's announcement regarding the increase in the project portfolio is important. Our main priority should be shifting the projects from the detailed engineering phase to the construction phase in order to progress efficiently. The portfolio is certainly intriguing. Nonetheless, I estimate that merely around 15 to 20% of its content relates to the intricacies of engineering. So we need to move forward, for example, with the topics of permits. And concerning the topics of fostering an environment, you know, of social acceptance that allows projects to move forward successfully.
There is also the other announcement, the minister stating that the World Bank will collaborate. During the beginning of the single window, as mentioned by ex-minister Romulo Mucho, certain initiatives were undertaken.
That announcement was heard by me as well, and I am in favor of it because Minister Montero mentioned so. If we do not have the support of an entity like the World Bank, the single window could take 5 years to come from here, right? And that's not what it's about. It's about making it more efficient. I think that, for example, a specific matter that could be discussed is the necessity of having more professional equipment to review and approve exploration and operation permits. That is an increase in the staff that the ministries have, especially SENAS. Yet, if the government genuinely aimed to assist in expediting the projects, this could be implemented without delay, correct?
Okay, so at this moment, we are waiting for the progress of the MAPE law, right? We don't know how it will end. Let's hope it's not bad. A kind of reinfo hidden. The Ministry of Energy and Mines indicated that it is making good progress on the regulation of Law 32213. Isn't it? A norm that extends the deadline for formalization of small-scale mining and artisanal mining. The matrix, which includes observations from civil society, academia, and relevant unions, has been made public. This includes all available information gathered. Well, tell us about this law and its importance. Also, Minister Montero has indicated. The most probable scenario is that the reinfo will continue through December 31st. Tell
Well,
us
yes,
these two
I
things.
believe that this law you mentioned is the one that was passed in Congress at the last moment and that they did not want to debate. Considering the proposal from the Ministry of Mines, unfortunately, I am currently contemplating it. The previous minister presented it very late. What I notice is that the ministry is, in a certain manner, working on the regulations of this new law. This new law, well, although we have only focused on the extension of the reinfo deadline, there are interesting topics. One thing is that it gives back the control of the entire formalization process to the Ministry of Energy and Mines. The regions have lost that authority. Additionally, he has brought up the issue of the interoperability of the system regarding the process of formalizing the operation of the MAPI. This is very interesting as it aims for traceability. And it should be noted that there is a subject that has been overlooked in this legislation, which stipulates that the new system of interoperability must be prepared within a 6-month time frame. I find that to be absolutely ideal, and I am certain the ministry is addressing that matter.
It's a
But it
law to
seems noteworthy
clarify
that
things. It's a separate law.
No, it is the law that has not extended the reinfo to this, but it has included these things that I am mentioning.
All right. He included these elements, and now let's initiate our discussion on one of the subjects at hand. The MINEM would have the decision and not the regions. Can you elaborate a bit more on that?
Yes, in essence, what occurs is that following the decentralization process, only the artisanal mining activities were assigned to the regions, and the Ministry of Energy and Mines was tasked with to provide technical support to the regions so that they can formalize. The regions did not comply. Additionally, the ministry sends money to the regions for formalization, but they end up using it for other things, which means they do not comply with the formalization
And their
process.
illegal mining comes in.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's when the reinfo came into existence, but regrettably it has been handled poorly, and thus Congress. So regarding what was approved just now, it has been confirmed that the rectory will go back to the ministry. The ministry has taken that on, and what it is proposing is collect all regional information. Even the minister commented that he was going to rent an apartment in Petro Peru to receive all that information, and will hire people to formalize it already from Lima, right? I believe, obviously, decentralization. Well, it's a topic that needs to be worked on and improved. Although this is a setback, I have faith that it will serve as a driving force for improvement, don't you think?
However, it has proven ineffective in numerous instances,
No, and
hasn't
regarding the MAPE topic.
it? It has experienced failures not only in mining, but also in various
Isn't it?
other
Hence,
areas.
this text
The key
includes 12
point is
symbols.
that it shows up. But it has to come from Lima and arrive. Reaching the destination is the utmost priority amidst the la-la-la. The crucial query is whether regional empowerment can prevent one's own downfall from happening.
Sure, that's why it happened due to a lack of technical know-how. Environmental topics, supervision, the issue of accrediting the permits needed to formalize. There are also corruption issues in the regions. As an example, regarding Madre de Dios, it has been noted that the prior governor was entangled in certain affairs.
There are several mayors and governors who engage in illegal mining.
So, yeah, that's one perspective. However, I feel that it's important for the minister to suggest some improvements as well. Let's talk about the initiatives in the MAPI law and those that are missing, and we should avoid a repeat of what happened with my last minister, who presented the MAPI law project just before the deadline, right? The Congressional Commission is currently developing a law project focused on MAPI. The project is in progress. And that is the project that he presented to the previous minister. What I believe is that there should be a more extensive and public discussion on this matter, don't you think?
The mining fund, what do you think, Miguel? It operates under the premise, as the minister states, that economic incentives should be given to the formal sectors and concurrently allows financial access to a technology that progresses an enduring quest for their hopes and dreams. We have with us an expert, Ivan Arenas, who is always present here, a specialist in these matters. It highlights that the issue with informal mining or mining on the path to formalization isn't the investment regarding its worth. Rather, it is the economic viability of the business, since the conditions set by RINFO have not been fulfilled, which poses an objection to the fund. What do you think?
Currently, the fund serves as an alternative that the minister is suggesting in this proposal for the new law. I would like to acknowledge that you have taken some initiative. Now, fundamentally, what is being sought is, it is a self-recording. It is not a fund that the government will have to allocate money to, but rather the miners themselves who formalize will contribute some money, and helps them with that money to have more technical capacity to evaluate, for example, this means working in a more effective way and establishing a more optimal process to achieve increased profitability. I think that ultimately this is an alternative that should be discussed. But what we need to focus on is, why does the artisanal miner need to formalize? Is it a cost burden, or does it create an opportunity, a profitability? So there are initiatives from the Mining Engineering Institute as well that propose, for example, finding that profit right in partnership, to offer support in enhancing technical capacity for more effective processing, allowing them to have greater technical abilities, thus minimizing the environmental footprint as well. However, we need to create a wide-ranging discussion rather than waiting until the last minute. As of now, we are in March, and I haven't noticed any extensive debate surrounding this matter, which could potentially engage the Institute both in Congress and beyond, since this is a key issue for our country. And unfortunately, if we don't engage in the debate, June will come, and it will be pushed back to December. We are currently deep into the electoral campaign, and out of nowhere, it will be delayed for another 2 years, because there is a current initiative in Congress.
It is true.
Agreed. Well, you were with us. Thanks a lot, Miguel Incháustegui, for being here on Rambo Minero.
Thank you for your invitation to the event.
Let's pause for a commercial and return shortly. As we finish the program, Cesar, I think you're saying that you're highlighting some good ideas from Miguel Incháustegui, an ex-minister, concerning energy and mines. Mining assets might serve as a solution, yet it's clear that in previous attempts they lacked the necessary resources, according to the World Bank or the IDB. They might assist, and mining assets could potentially be the buyers of the gold. But that's a given. No tricks, right? We need to check where the traceability originates and having people on the ground. You know, another point that I find very interesting is that the MINEM has already, in her proposal for this law, she said, no, we will handle it ourselves and not the regions. The regional approach has failed. This is a topic now, you know, about the corruption they can't handle. On various matters, I think the central government should return. Because in the end, what all Peruvians want is for the money to reach the people of the town. And the regions have not known how to do it.
Indeed, in some way he returns, just like Roque Benavides, former president, twice president of the CONFIEP, former president of the National Mining, president of the Buenaventura Mining Company. Yes, there are. To share the positive outlook of Minister Jose Salardi and Minister Jorge Montero, in order to maximize the benefits of these investment projects, which, as we have come to understand, an announcement has been made regarding an increase from 51 to 68 with a total value of $63 billion. So are we ready to move forward? It appears so. I just hope the pre-election atmosphere doesn't adversely impact this situation.
Correct. Indeed, the constant presence of Rambo Minero's ideas is a valuable resource for finding solutions. I have come up with a potentially fruitful idea. It would be beneficial to involve the mining assets team in a discussion and gather their insights. And not to forget, the prestigious World Bank. Thank you for joining us on Rumbo Minero. We truly appreciate it. Don't forget, in just a few minutes, we will start with Peru Builds to talk about infrastructure and construction. And as always, we will all be here every weekend at this same time. Thank you very much.